Well, hey there. Welcome to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. We've got to do ourselves a little segment here with our legal analyst. Jeremy Rosenthal is back on the James Show from TexasDefenseFirm.com. Welcome back to the show. I've got a slew of questions for you. I might have to take you for 2 segments here, all right?
Do what you need. Do what you need. Just be nice. Be gentle. But yes.
Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things that have already come up on the show. And number one, Epstein files. Your take, what's going on with that? Like, why is it so hard for these things to be released? I feel like my dearth of legal knowledge in protecting the victims here is kind of why I don't understand fully what's going on. What's so hard about releasing these files? Okay, here's my guess. There's some victims on there, and you don't want them to be exposed to cause more damage to them. Other than that, I don't see any excuse to not release them, Jeremy. Am I missing something?
No, you're not. And not only that, that's not what Pam Bondi has said. What you said would make sense, right? That this is ongoing law enforcement, that there's some victims here, that not only are there some victims, maybe we have some people who are implicated who we're not sure how involved they are, and that's not fair. But she said there's no list. She says there's no list. And there was a list on our desk 6 months ago, and now we don't have a desk, and who's this Jeffrey Epstein guy? So, yeah, a lot of backtracking there, and we're all left to guess. We all project what we want sort of out of that list. We all sort of, everybody that we hate, your ex-wife, your former boss, anybody and everybody who you don't like, you can imagine on that list, but we just don't know.
Fair enough. A lot of people are projecting who they want to be on the list, but it's such a whiplash. It's a tennis match because it used to be Team Blue hiding it, and now Team Red's hiding it, and Team Blue's acting like, well, we got to get this thing released. Well, where were you for the last 4 years? So I really don't know what to think. I just want the list to come out. I just want the people who are raping children to receive justice. And history of mankind hasn't been real optimistic about the elites who do terrible things with children ever receiving justice.
Yeah, I think that's the sort of the crux of all this, and people want to know, well, what makes this different, right? What makes this different from politics as usual? What makes this different from Geraldo Rivera opening the vault, right, in 1986 and then not finding anything? What makes it different? That's what makes it different. It makes it different that this is a billionaire-run pedophile enterprise, and that matters, and that's important, and it has become political. Unfortunately, the administration has had sort of an unforced error. The Democrats are kind of pressing and poking where they know it hurts, so you would expect all that to happen. But I don't think we're any closer to getting any clarity on it, and I don't think we're going to get it anytime soon.
Yeah, sadly, I think I agree with the general sentiment there. Jeremy Rosenthal, what does your legal expertise say about this ICE block app? It's thwarted ICE raids actually here in North Texas, and the discussion we've been having is, where does the line of free speech versus interfering with law enforcement, fire in a crowded theater scenario, where's that line drawn legally? Because this sounds a lot like the judge in Milwaukee that got in trouble for telling an illegal immigrant in her court, hey, ICE is in the hallway. You can escape through the back door here and evade arrest, and she's catching charges. This sounds a lot like what the ICE block app is doing.
It's pretty interesting from a legal standpoint because you do to me, I kind of think of, if you remember the Fuzzbuster, the thing that detects where the police are.
Yeah, the radar detectors. My dad certainly didn't have one back in the 90s. That's for damn sure. I've just heard of it. Yeah.
Right. And you can sort of criminalize that. But are you you're really walking a tight line with free speech. Now, is it a crime to help somebody who is illegal avoid some type of detection? You can make that argument, but all I'm doing is providing information on whereabouts of authorities, right? And I don't know that you're going to get across that line with this app now. Where there's a will, there's a way. Everybody who signed up for an app on that, there's probably a way for the government to get that. And I don't know that you want that out there. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting, it's a pretty clever invention, pretty interesting, and definitely tiptoes on the line.
Well, some of the layman arguments that were had earlier on the James show is, how is this different than from the Waze app telling you, WAZE, telling you where a cop is on the side of the road. They're trying to help you evade breaking the law or law enforcement. But that's not the sole purpose of the Waze app. It's to let you know about general traffic. So road hazards, traffic jams, slow traffic, alternate routes. Where's the next bathroom? Where's the next place you can stop and get gas or food or something? So, it doesn't seem to be the primary intent of the Waze app. It's almost like a happenstance if you do get to avoid being caught doing something illegal. But here it seems like the specific intent of the ICE Block app, and it has no other purpose other than helping criminals escape capture. And I feel like that might be the bridge too far.
Maybe if you think about it like this, and we put on, I've done this before, James, when we put on our lawyer hats and we kind of start to analyze this, you commit an offense if you knowingly if you know that there's an investigation, if you know that somebody, that if a federal agent says, okay, thou shalt stay right here, do not talk to and it's common in federal investigations when there's a federal grand jury subpoena, they tell you, don't tell everybody in the world, right? That is a binding order that you shall not tell anybody in the world that we're investigating this. But you don't have that specific notice. What you're really brokering here is information. And if that information can be used for ill intent, well, so be it. There's, like we're talking about Waze, there's tons of other apps and other things that sort of tiptoe there. And on Waze, you can make the argument that you're actually, well, no, we're trying to get people to slow down by showing them that there's police out here. Because if you see a police officer on the little widget or emoji, right, then we're helping enforcement, right?
Well, good. That's great, because it would be a net positive for public safety.
You can make that argument, but again, the problem is that you are not on notice of anything specific. And just the location of an ICE agent or officer is not in and of itself. I don't know that just knowing their whereabouts, I don't know. Now, there may be something where I don't know how they're detecting that. I don't know how you, short of putting that may be a problem if you've got a bug or a GPS thing on their cars, that would be a crime. So I don't know how you're really monitoring these things, but assuming that you're not if it's just people that are reporting it in, saying, hey, there's an ICE raid going on here, I don't know that's – I think you're going to be protected by the First Amendment. And I think that if you try to criminalize that app, I think the app maker and provider probably wins that fight.
We're talking with Jeremy Rosenthal. He's the legal expert on the James Show from TexasDefenseFirm.com. When we continue, I'm going to ask him about the curious timing of the Carmelo Anthony trial. It's being set for June 1st of next year, and some people are suspicious that has awfully convenient political timing. I'm not so sure. We'll get the answer from Jeremy Rosenthal next on The James Show. Well, hey there. Welcome back to The James Show. It's News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Barker, and we are continuing with the legal analyst of The James Show, Jeremy Rosenthal, from TexasDefenseFirm.com. I'm glad you're here because we got the news about the Carmelo Anthony trial. He's the guy that's accused of murder in the stabbing death of Austin Metcalf at the Frisco track meet. And some people are suspicious about the timing of his trial, June 1st, 2026. And I don't know if people are just too politically minded. But the theory by some is that this is a deliberate timing to coincide with the midterm elections so this guy can be convicted and then we can have riots and then hopefully that'll help Team Blue. And while that's possible, I don't think that's probable. Is that about right? Is that normal timing for a murder trial about a year or so later?
Yeah, I would say it is. He's on bond, so he's not in jail, which takes a little bit of the pressure off. Folks are giving the legal system far, far, far too much credit for having control of itself. This case is in front of the Honorable John Roach, who is a fabulous judge, and he is a wonderful public servant. He's as hardworking as a judge as I know, And the way Judge has probably scheduled this is he's saying, look, we're going to set it out once. We're going to have one day, and everybody's going to be ready, and nobody's going to come to me in May of 2026 with the dog ate my homework. We're going to get this. Everybody's getting plenty of time right now, but we're going to get this done that time. So no, I don't smell any kind of rats there. This to me seems perfectly normal.
Well, that also, I'm not belaying the fact that it may be used as the predicate for riots or complaints or protests or whatever the political machinations end up being that from the effects of the verdict. But I think it's really just a coincidence, and it's good to hear that you kind of generally agree. But there were a lot of people that sounded pretty convincing saying it should be sooner. Did we lose it?
A year is not that long of a time in court speak. You know, a year is just not too great. You got to remember that when you're talking about a court case, courts of law are like courts of racquetball. It is one at a time, and there are 500 people that want to play. It's not just him and his case, and I guarantee you that Carmelo Anthony and his team care a lot more about winning the case than they do the midterm elections. So I don't know that that's right. Not only that, when you're scheduling these cases, it gets really complicated because the prosecution's going to have experts. The defense is going to have experts. You're coordinating 15 calendars, literally. So
right.
A trial setting is a real hard thing to get everybody to agree to, and again, the judge is just basically saying, look, I'm going to give everybody as much time as you need, but we're only doing this once, and that's kind of Judge Roach's MO, and he's fair that way, and yeah, I'm sure that when he says June 1st, that's what he means.
Well, it's kind of helpful that you know this judge. How long do you expect a trial like this to take? This one could take a little while, and I would say maybe 2 weeks. That's about the over under here. You had a real quick bang interaction here, so I don't know that you're going to be going through a bunch of on December 1st this happened, and then on December 2nd this happened on December. So I don't think you're going to have a lot of that. I'd say if I was a betting man, I'd say about a week, 10 days maybe. Well, that's a lot faster than I expected. Well, thank you very much for your insight. Always appreciated. This is the great Jeremy Rosenthal. TexasDefenseFirm.com is his website. Appreciate your time again, Jeremy.
Always, James. Always.
Thank you very much.